Hello everyone to a new video. This video is going to be a little bit different than the videos we usually make because in this video it's going to be real-time modeling, so people that are a little bit falling behind can follow up with us. And I was working on a concept art for an interesting looking spaceship, and I felt that one of the parts can be really interesting to make a video on. You're gonna get a lot of tips on modeling this part, even if you're like advanced in your 3D career or if you're a beginner. So let's start to it. Okay, so you see this part here. It's more like an engine part. We'll jump to Blender. Yeah, I'll delete everything. Shift A, cube. Okay, why did I start with a cube? I want to talk a little bit about the topology of an object, because as you can see, the shape here is a sphere. But I wouldn't recommend to start with a sphere for a shape like this. I would only start with a sphere if I need something that's more like a dome, and I need these details like this, you know? So for a shape like this, where like a lot of cuts that are parallel to like the x-axis or to the y-axis, this wouldn't be helpful. Okay, we have like these that are helpful, but on the other axis, like we don't have any details that we can use. So a good practice or a good example is to subdivide the cube and then apply the subdivision. So now you have a better topology for a sphere. But if you notice, it still has some corners. It's not totally a sphere. So what you can do is press like F3 and select to sphere. The shortcut for it is Shift Alt S. And now, as you can see, if I'm pulling, it's fixing the sphere shape. So I can also like type 1 and press enter. And yeah, now we have a perfect sphere. Another sphere that would be that is in Blender is the icosphere, which has like a very specific topology for like specific stuff, and I rarely use this one actually. So yeah, most probably we're gonna be working on stuff like this. If you want, you can pull the reference on the side by creating like another space, make it an image editor, and you can drag and drop any image here. Okay, now that we have the reference in Blender, we can start modeling it. As you can see, we can have loops on the z-axis, on the y-axis, or on the x-axis. And that's the difference between this kind of sphere and the other spheres that are the default in Blender. So for this one, as you can see here, we need to delete first some of the details that we're not using. Probably delete the backside as well. All this area down here. Maybe from the back. I'll also make it more open. And yeah, as a start, I can see this shape working. Wait, maybe I'll keep this as this shape. Okay. Now I'll delete the rest. Okay, now that we have the basic loops, I want to cut straight some parts, but you can see here that if I scale on the y-axis 0, it will ruin the curvature. So a better thing is to use the bisect tool. I can just select everything and then cut a clean loop like this. Now I can select the faces and delete them. And we didn't ruin the curvature or anything. I'm gonna start subdividing it just to see how it looked like overall. And as you can see here, this has more of a square shape and we wanted more of a circular one. So if I move it up, this will give us more of a circle round shape. But I don't want to move it upwards, I want to move it on this edge. So to do so, I press G twice, and this will move it only on one of the edges that the vertex is on. Okay, so I'll go to the front view, press G twice, and slide it upwards. Yes, perfect. Okay, for this extrusion, I want to use these loops right here. So these faces can go. Okay, now eat extrude. I want to flatten it on the x-axis, so SX0. Yes, perfect. To get this sharp angle back, I can create support loops. I'll create one before and one after. Let's check it now. These shapes are not really clear what they are, but I imagined it as a tube that maybe like smoke can come out of or something like that. So to do so, we can go back to the backside of the shape we created and select two faces like this. Now if we inset and then go to edit, Loop Tools. Loop Tools is a plugin that is built in Blender, so if you don't have it here, you can just go to like edit preferences and turn it on. Okay, now we select circle. As you can see, sometimes it messes up the orientation of it, but we can totally control it like this. Also control the radius. And another very important thing is to unselect flatten, because when we flatten it, it's actually ruining the surface of the sphere. It's making it like a flat surface, and we don't want that. We want to maintain the curvature of the sphere we made. Okay, so I'll adjust the radius a little bit, and yeah, this should be perfect. I'll inset it again, just to create a support loop from now, and then extrude it outwards. Maybe pull it a little bit back, make it smaller. Rotate it back a little bit, and I'll delete the face. Yeah, so I'm gonna create two more of this shape. I'm gonna select these faces and these faces. Click I to inset, enter, then do the same, circle, and it's taking the original data that we entered for the first one, but it will not work the same, so we're gonna play with the angle. Maybe make the radius a little bit smaller. Make sure it's still unselected, flatten. And yeah, I'm gonna do the same here. Circle, change the angle, and make the radius a little bit smaller. Okay, to extrude these two together, what we can do, because now if I click E, it will just like extrude them in the same direction. I don't want that. I want each one to be facing, like to be extruded in the direction it's facing. So I'm gonna press Alt E, extrude along normals. And you see the difference. Okay. You can see it got a little bit distorted when we extrude it along normals. So I can select it again and click circle to fix that. And also play a little bit with the angle. Yeah. To get the same shape back. For the other one, I had to click flatten because it was glitching with the angle. But yeah, it works now. I'm gonna select them, the both of them, move them a little back, make them smaller. But now that I'm selecting two, when I make them smaller, they go smaller to the same shared location. But what I want them to do is to be scaled each individually. So if you go here, in the transform pivot point, you select individual origins, and this will make them scale individually. Click enter. Okay, for this face, I already created like a support loop, inset right here. But for these, I forgot to do so, so I have to create it now. And I can just do like Control R and create support loops. and this will basically give me the same result. If I want to make one of them shorter, what I can do is also select the loop, press G twice, and slide it along the other edges, and it will make it shorter. And I can press it again to the other one, make it even shorter. But maybe for this one, I want it to be a little bit longer. So what I can do first, I start the same, double G, go slide a little bit backwards, and then press Alt. And this will show me the axis in both directions. And I can go a little bit more with this. Yes, perfect. And maybe make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, just so it's not tapered too much. I want to maintain these sharp edges right here, so I'll probably create a loop here, and maybe one here. Yeah, this is much better. Okay, I also want to separate these two polygons to create these like fin shape right here. So I'll select these, Alt M, and faces by edges. Now I can move them and break them from the shape they were in. Actually, I will Control X for these edges, I don't need them. Yeah. Now we're getting the shape that we want, but it's like a shell now, there's no thickness to it, so let's fix that. I'll create a solidify modifier, but I'll put it before the subdivision. Actually, let's turn off the subdivision now. I'll increase it until it looks appealing here. Yeah, I think by this much. Okay, and I will apply it. But if you notice here, it ruined these shapes. It looks like it's almost closed now. So another way to solve it is to scale it back, but also not only scale it along normals. And to do so, we press Alt S. I'll select the loop. Then if we do Alt S, yes, it's fixing it back. Maybe I'll adjust the rotation a little bit. And I'll select this loop and scale it just so it doesn't intersect. I'll do the same here. Do the same to the last one. And to keep these hard edges, we will do the same. We can create two edges like this, or I can just select the whole thickness and then inset, and this will give basically the same effect. And if we want to make it even more sharp, because we so far added only one support edge, so there's only one on this side. If you want to create another one on the inner side, I can just grow the selection, then inset, but this time I will press O to make an outset. And as you can see the loop here, let's go a little bit closer. If we press O, now it's doing an outset and it's creating the edge on the other side, which can be really helpful sometimes. Now if we go here, it will be much sharper of an edge. Now let's say that we want to have sharp edges here, like this part. Okay, we can just create two loops and this will fix it. What else? Okay, there's this detail right here that we can make it follow these polygons here, like this. So if you click Ctrl R, you can see you have a loop that goes like this and a loop that goes like this. But we don't want to add too many loops. We want to minimize it as much as possible and we want to keep the curvature like this. We want to keep the polygon flow like this. So if we go to X-ray mode and select all the polygons on one side, like so, and we press inset, we're actually creating this loop that we want. But let's check some stuff. For example, edge rail, just so it doesn't go outside, like you see here. Now we can select this edge to start creating this shape. Actually, let's say I want to make this more rounded, so I want this vertex to come closer to here. So I'll press G twice, go in one direction, and then press Alt to have the other option, and now press Enter. If I press Ctrl R here, I can create more loops on this new polygon flow that I have. So let's do that. I'll create one edge and extrude it outwards. Let's say, not extrude it, just like push it outwards, like this. We can push some of the other vertices, but at the end we'll keep it like not pushed, so it fades gradually in the shape, like here. I know I want this edge to be sharp, so let's create some support loops. And now, if we subdivide, it looks actually nice. Maybe I also want this to be sharp. A little bit. I can slide it away or closer to make it more or less sharp. I'm pressing G twice to slide it, like this. Yeah. Okay, this looks perfect. Okay, so let's try to do this engine inside. It's gonna be pretty simple, just like a smaller exercise on adding support loops. I'm gonna create a cylinder. Let's go with something like 16. Get smaller. Rotate on x-axis. Okay, something like that. Okay, this fits perfectly actually. Inset again. Maybe I'll do extrude for this loop. Then inset, extrude. Inset. Select this loop, extrude, inset, and extrude. Okay, maybe something like this. Maybe I'll take this even more here. Yeah, I'll do simpler thing on the back. I'll do like this and this, maybe. Okay, so we can isolate this object. Press Ctrl and 2 to have 2 levels of subdivision. So to create a support loop, we can just click Ctrl R, add one here, add one here, add one here. We want to add one before each edge and after it. And also, as I said, we can select a loop of polygons and do an inset. Select another loop, and also if you select a loop, then like jump one loop and select the other, you can do inset for all of them. Also, if you create one loop and then bevel it, you can do something similar. This is a good exercise just to get your hands moving and like be faster in modeling in general. As you can see now, we have a clean shape. similar to our concept art. I hope you enjoyed this quick modeling exercise and learned a thing or two. I'll probably do similar type of video for rigging, and also tell me if you like this kind of videos. I can make more real-time videos just to get like some tips and tricks and see how things go in real time. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more.